Welcome to New York's Divine Channel. You can have it all. This episode, Becoming a Soulpreneur, is for beginners, intermediate, and advanced business owners. In fact, you may be a beginner in your mind because you feel called to begin a business and you aren't quite sure where to begin. The other people in the room here that are tuning in may already have a business. However, you don't feel that it's going exactly the way you expected, or that it's not leveling up as quickly or as nicely as you were hoping for it to level up and really start scaling your business. And some of you may be very advanced in your business ownership. However, you don't feel soul aligned. It no longer feels like you're on track, and that maybe you are not fulfilled anymore or happy, and you're looking for a way to tweak your business or take it in a new direction so that it's soul aligned with you and that you know that you're following your soul mission. Some of us call it a soul contract, and making an impact in the world that you have been divinely guided to do. So, welcome to all of you at all different levels of soulpreneurship, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and those who are dreaming about it at this point and beginning to plan and looking for guidance. So, today, what we're going to start out with is, what is your soul contract and how is it part of your business plan? How does it have anything to do with your business plan? A lot of people that I meet don't have it connected, and they haven't thought of it that way. In fact, I was one of those people for many, many years. I have been a business owner for over 37 years now at this point, and I can say that I think I was accidentally, for the most part, following my soul missions and my soul contract within my business for many years, and probably right from the very beginning, because I was building it from my heart. So I've always been a heart-centered business owner. And being a heart-centered business owner allows you to really build a business that's fulfilling for yourself and fulfilling for others. However, sometimes just being heart centered doesn't always get us where we want in our business. Sometimes we aren't getting the financial income that we're looking for in our business, or sometimes we aren't feeling good about how we do business, or the amount of maybe recognition. Some people are building their businesses for uh, building their self-confidence. Others are building it to build other people's self-confidence. Hopefully you're doing both if you're already a business owner. And today what we're going to talk about is how to become a soulpreneur. I know that I accidentally was following my soul missions without really knowing anything about soul missions or soul contracts back 37 years ago when I started my business. And then for many years, I didn't really understand that there was a divine purpose, or that there was a pre-plan that I had contracted for with divine before even incarnating and coming to this world. And I became aware of that probably about 10 years ago, about a decade ago. That is when I was in one of my hardest times in my life. There had been several tragedies. My sister had passed away suddenly 10 years before that, and it really ripped apart my family, as you can imagine, and left us very sad and probably very confused as to why and how, and trying to understand and seek understanding. And in that place, it took some time for me and my family to pick ourselves back up. And I know that we had to pick ourselves back up in a new way. We never went back to who we were before. And any of you who have lost a family member, especially a sibling, or a parent at maybe an earlier age than maybe you would expect, you know what I'm talking about. And then I had also been dealing with the fact that my son was not doing very well. He had been born with about a bunch of medical things. And then my father passed away early too, earlier than what I would have expected. It wasn't probably, I thought he had another decade at least, if not 2 decades to go. And that wasn't the case. And so, like many of you, I had hit a lot of hard knocks, and emotionally, it affected me to the point where I wasn't able to really stay focused and truly be fully present for my business, my clients. And there was the big question of why, what are we doing this for? Why am I here anyway? You know, those questions were coming through. So if any of you relate to that, welcome. And if you don't relate to that, welcome as well, because either way, you know somebody who has gone through different things. If not, you've personally gone through them yourself. So if you're tuning in today and you're in that place in your business where you're looking for more, or you're looking for direction or a change, you want to really elevate your business and elevate yourself, or you just know that you are no longer on track with your business. And what do I mean by that? You may have known that you were on track for quite some time, but now you know you're not on track. Who is there with me? Who recognizes what I'm talking about or resonates? Please raise your hand. You can use the little emoji in here if you would like. And I know I'm talking to many of you throughout the world as this broadcast goes into 195 nations worldwide on the Win Win Women Network, which I am on the Faith and Inspiration channel right now, where we bring in our faith and, of course, our inspiration to build our lives. And today we're going to be building our lives personally and professionally, and looking at it really from a business building perspective. So if you are the person that is tuning in live today, or the persons, they're saying there's actually more than one, as I am a divine channel. New York's Divine Channel is the name that I'm known by on this TV show and on the stage worldwide. And what I do is I bring in the messages from divine as a conduit. And many of you tuning in do the same thing. You're empathic, you're psychic, you're a channel, and you've tapped into it, you've attuned it, and you're working to continue to ascend and elevate and go to the next levels of ascension in your life. So with that said, because that's a large group of the following that I have on this TV show, on this series, and on this network, you may really resonate with that at one time you were on track, but now, or maybe in the past, you then found yourself off track, and then you had to work to get back on track. So wherever you are, whether you're on track, off track, no you are, no you aren't, whatever place you're at, or the family members or friends or clients that you'll be talking to later as a result of this show, welcome to the world of ascension and soul contracts and soul missions. The word they're trying to give me is, because this word that we typically use is not one that people like. So I'm going to tell you what it is: soul lessons. Because when we say that word, a lot of us interpret it the wrong way. We hear it as a punishment, or, something that we did wrong, and now we have to correct it by learning this thing. That is not what it is at all. Not at all. So please don't take it in that way when we talk about the topic. But each and every one of us come to this incarnation, or any incarnation, with some things to learn And whether it's that we're stepping into our full soul compassion for ourselves and for others, whether we're really, really going to experience unconditional love in this lifetime. And usually that looks like a period of time where we're not experiencing unconditional love, so that we have the exact opposite of the experience when we switch into unconditional love, and the journey of finding it, and the fact that we find it within ourselves and in our connection to divine. So everything I do is a connection to divine, and I will be channeling from divine today as New York's Divine Channel. That is how I roll. That is what I'm doing. And we will be building our business from that place. So let's get started. Those of you who were interested in how do I build my business from my soul contract and succeed wildly, okay? And the fact that there is a concept like that, because maybe some of you read the title and you said, wait a minute, I can build my business from my soul contract, and I can succeed wildly. Okay. So my first question would be, what is my soul contract? If I had not already known that. And then my next question would be, how do I apply that to my business and make it succeed wildly? And then for some of you tuning in, you might not have your business yet that you know you're going to be building and developing. And so you're looking at, well, geez, I have an opportunity to start my business plan with my soul contract in mind. And so that's exciting, because if that's the situation that you're in right now, where you can build your business with your soul contract in mind, that means you're supposed to do it that way. That is why you tuned in today. That's why you're here watching the show. And some of you will be watching the recording later on some of the cable stations, on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, all the places that were broadcasted throughout the world in 195 nations. I want to invite you to embrace the concept that you contracted to get certain things done while you're here receiving. So what we're receiving is the accomplishment of our soul lessons, which are the becoming. Our soul lesson is what we're becoming in this time and in this space, who we are becoming. And it's a positive thing. It's a really good thing. And then our soul contract is what we said we would do in return for being able to be here receiving. Okay, so when we contracted to incarnate and come to the world, we said, okay, here's what I want to become. I want to go to this next level of my soul's enlightenment. And for me, I know I really have to get unconditional love down pat. That is just an example. I'm just making up an example right now. And then as a result, I will give back. And usually you're given a list. I know this sounds maybe interesting or funny to some of you who've never heard this concept before. Others of you are going, oh yeah, I know all about this. It really just depends on your awareness and what you've already been learning and studying and finding out on your journey. So I'm just going to speak from the heart. I'm going to speak frankly and authentically here. And some of these things will just be new concepts or ideas. And I welcome you to reach out to me personally and ask more questions. In fact, my email is Camille@CamilleConti.com. So CamilleCamille@CamilleConti for Tom, or T for, what are they saying? They're coming in. My spiritual counsel, guardian angels and guides, divine. They always have a sense of humor, and they're throwing jokes in there. And sometimes the jokes are so goofy, I'm not even tuned into them, but they're saying T for top notch. So CONTI.com. So Camille@CamilleConti.com. If you want to send me over some questions, I will set you up with either a private one-on-one session that you would like to book with me, or a group course. We've got a 2-day online retreat coming up this weekend the 5th, and the 6th. And we have a 7-day master camp for goddess warrior queen master camp. And these two things will help you to get very laser lucid clear with what your soul contract is. So if you're saying, geez, I want to spend I want to make the smallest investment possible for time, energy, and money, financially as well as my time, then one of these programs or both of them would be a really great investment of your time, your energy, and your money to get a huge bang for your buck, basically, and for your time. Because if you come with that intention to the 2-day retreat, which is from 1 to 5 p.m. for 4 hours each day, it's an 8-hour retreat, New York time, Eastern Standard Time, for Friday and Saturday. If you come to that retreat with the focus of, I am going to leave knowing my soul contract, or confirming it, or validating what I suspect, because some of you already suspect it. You feel like, I pretty much know what my soul contract is, but I want to get a little bit more meat around it, a little bit more validation. And Mari Lou, if you can put the link in there for the 2-day online retreat for Become a Powerhouse is the name of it. If you come with that, you will leave with your soul contract, because in this small little 1-hour period of time for this TV show today and our interactive questions, answers, and conversation afterward, we don't have enough time to do it. And quite frankly, it's a really important thing. It's going to dictate everything about your life. And it is something that you signed up for, you agreed to, and you said, okay, play me, coach, to divine, I'm in. And I will tell you that it was something that was needed in this world at this time. Okay, so right now, we're going through a lot in the world, not like that's anything new. The world, the planet Earth, Mother Earth is ascending. And in that ascension process, as we are ascending, things are shifting and changing. And people don't really like change normally. And so sometimes we get stubborn, or we fight it, or we want to control things. We want it our way. And then with that energy that's considered dense energy, when we're controlling, the density makes it heavier, harder, and then causes unnecessary turmoil. And then everybody's knocking heads. So that's a crazy explanation of what's going on in the world. I'm sure we all have our own way of wording it, possibly some swear words involved too. As you know, I do have sometimes a truck driver's mouth. So when we're broadcasting worldwide, though, I clean up my act. But come to the interactive part that's not recorded, and you can hang out with the unleashed raw version of me. And so some of you are saying, okay, now that I know that I have to understand my soul contract, because it really pretty much is going to be connected to my success, I need to know what it is. Okay, so that's step one. So if you came here to take notes and really get laser lucid clear with how to become a soulpreneur and how to either birth or rebirth and build your business following your soul contract so that you can succeed wildly, then I'm giving you the notes here. So step one is you have to find out your soul contract. Okay. Now, by the way, I gave you a little bit of an out a few seconds ago when I said pretty much you have to know your soul contract. And that was just my little meat tenderizer or marinade on you to get you ready for the next statement. And here's the next statement. No, you have to know it. And I know this from Hard Knocks, because for a long time, although I was following my heart and I was heart-centered, really doing what I felt I believed in and what felt right to me, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a soul contract until about a decade ago. So just doing my best, trying to be a good person, right? And then finding out that, and it actually filled in a whole bunch of blanks, because I had these multiple choice blanks of what the is going on, because I had these visions, like I would be given visions and dreams of what everything was going to look like in my life, that was my personal life, and then how it was attached to success in my career and in my business. And none of that was happening. And I was working hard. I was working hard. I was thinking I was working smart, but I didn't know what I was supposed to be smart about because I didn't know I had to be smart about a soul contract, right? So finally, one day, I had this really strong prayer with divine to get clear on what I am supposed to be doing. And it was the first time I officially asked for divine guidance. And that happened accidentally. I didn't even know I was doing that. I was just like, I need help. Things are not going good. My life is really pretty much a mess. And tell me what to do because God, you must have the answers. Apparently, you made us. That's at least what they taught me in school when I went to all these spiritual schools that my parents sent me to. I'm like, so there must be more to my life than I am aware of. So on that day where I asked for divine guidance, I got a whole bunch of information that made me have more questions. But hey, at least I had more questions. I was going in a better direction because it was a direction I had never gone in. And geez, when you feel like you've hit a wall and you feel like you have nowhere to turn because you don't know what to do next, that's where you feel like, okay, I got to get some new intel. And when I found out you could get a divine intelligence download about a decade ago, I was like, oh, I'm all in. How do you do that shit? Okay, excuse my French, but I was like, I need to know. So we're going to be doing that on the 2-day retreat. And if this weekend doesn't work for you, because it's super quick, we have another one coming up in December. So click on the link, you'll see the dates. And then if you're like, well, geez, 4 hours, 2 days in a row isn't probably going to work for me, but I like the idea of the 7-day master camp, which is only 1 hour a day, which is at 5 a.m. from 5 to 6 a.m. Then, and I know that sounds ridiculously early for some of us, but that might sound like the right one for your vibration and your frequency. So just check in with yourself on what feels right. I have many of my students in the academy who are coming to both. So whatever feels right to you, we're going to jumpstart you because after you find out your soul contract, then you need to do step 2. Now, step 2 is you have to find out how to build a business plan around your soul contract. All right. So that you can fulfill your soul contract. So you're going to need a business plan. Now, if you would like to start the beginning process of this right away, after what you learned from today's show, then I'm going to tell you to set aside a appointment with divine. Book it in your calendar and write it in your calendar. Business planning, life planning with divine. So I would put life/business planning with divine. Okay. Now, then I want you to ask, how long am I supposed to do this for? Now, you might be told that you need to do it for 2 hours or 4 hours. And you also might be told, well, this will be our first one, but we'll be doing this every day, but in smaller increments. So we'll have a big training now, and then we'll have daily check-ins and then quarterly meetings. So here is the big takeaway for all of you today who tuned in going, I got to leave with something good in my suitcase or my briefcase for tools. And here's what it is. You have to make divine your board of directors. Now, some of you have very large businesses and you already have physical human beings as board of director members, because I have students and clients from all around the world that have businesses ranging from beginner startup to millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, multi hundreds of millions of dollars. So everywhere in between. And regardless of where you're at, whether you're just beginning and you have 15 cents in your bank account and you're like, I have no idea what I'm going to do with that, but we're going to get going, or whether you have $1,500 million or 15 billion, whatever you have, it doesn't really matter. Now, some of you are going, Camille just said that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if you decide to rebirth your business or birth your business and use your soul contract to follow the plan, then divine already knows what your situation is. Divine already knows what your resources are, who you are. Divine knows what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your resources are, and what they are not, where you are likely to succeed and where you're likely to need a lot of support and a lot of help. I myself don't like wasting time, energy, and money. After doing that too many times over my 37 plus years of business ownership and entrepreneurship, I stopped doing that about a decade ago, where I kept thinking I would cut corners and maybe save money and save on having to pay for this or that or the other thing. Because I learned the hard way that if you don't have some professional support, professional training, or coaching of some sort, it's going to take you longer to get there. And it's important for you to find different programs, a mentor or a coach or a program that's going to help you with the next chapter. And every time I have a new thing that I'm going to do in my business or in my personal life, I find a new program. It doesn't mean it's a different coach or mentor. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But I find the next program that's going to help me and guide me so that I don't have to waste time, energy, and money. Because you would think, oh, geez, well, if I pay money for something, I'm going to use that money. Well, if you invest it wisely, it's going to make you tons of money. And, the stock market is not the only place to invest our money. The best place to invest our money is in ourself. And when you invest in yourself, then you're able to multiply who you are, what you're doing, and what you're accomplishing in the world. So I implore you from today to take that leap of faith and decide to join us for the Become a Powerhouse, where you've got 8 hours with us 2 days in a row, or join us with the Becoming a Goddess Warrior Queen, where you've got 7 hours, 7 days in a row, 1 hour a day at 5 o'clock in the morning from 5 to 6, and really get clear with what your soul contract is, and then how that affects your career, whether you're employed as a employee of somebody else's business, or whether you're self-employed or wanting to become. You might be building the bridge. I help a lot of people. I'm a very good bridge builder where I help people build the bridge from being employed to being self-employed. And since I've been doing this for many years, I have a ton of success under my belt where we have been able to replace people's jobs and have them making lots more money in their own business and using less time, or their time is theirs, so they're able to schedule it around what they need. And a lot of us on the Win-Win Women Network, we have families. So we have spouses, we have children, and we need to schedule our career around what we're doing for our family. And I know for myself, I had to make my family first because I had a lot of problems going on in my family. And I figured out how to schedule and create a business plan that would work at each stage of my life. And I would say that at this point, I know how to jump out of an airplane without a parachute, land on my feet, and keep running. Now, that's only because I jumped out without a parachute and crashed and burned several times and figured out how to keep running. I would like to help you be able to do it and not have to go through some of the stuff that I went through, and just help you skate through it much faster, cleaner, smoother, easier, and more enjoyable. And that's what a coach does. That's what a mentor does. So I am here. If you feel called to work with me, then send me a text or an email, 716-603-1767. Or my email I gave you before, Camille@CamilleConti.com. And if you are wanting to know more information about what we do in our academy, what we do in our agency, then go to my website, CamilleConti.com. Thank you for tuning in today. We're going to start the interactive portion where we are unrecorded and unleashed and raw in just a few moments. And then tune in next time for our next show coming up. We have a list of scheduled shows if you look at the link that you used to join this show today. See you then.